Black Myth WuKong's reviews are in, and today we're going to dive into over 80 reviews and give you the breakdown on the game as thorough as possible. Of course, without any big story spoilers or anything like that. We want to give you the best possible outcome. We do have some giveaways and more on the channel, should be in the description, so lock in for that. Outside of the giveaways, we absolutely will be streaming and making guides for this game, so make sure you lock in for that as well. Now, I have a lot to say about this game. It does a good job on many fronts, has some unique elements and tons of stuff. I covered pretty much everything you any reviewer can say already in my preview information. There's not much that anybody said differently, but I have a bunch of little details that's going to help you make the choices on if this is something you want to purchase depending on the scenario. First things first is only PC has got reviews of this game. Unfortunately, PS5 players have not had the chance to test the game. So anybody trying to purchase this on the PS5, please wait for my review or someone else who's played it on that console. On PC, there were a couple of reports about some crashes and also falling through the ground a few times, and then cutscene audio dropping. Remember, in reviews, sometimes the games need a patch for release date. And so maybe that'll come for PC. Hopefully, PlayStation 5 folks don't have to deal with that. And that is the only real gripes that I see that are a big deal with all of these reviews and information that's been out there that I think that people need to pay attention to and think about. Say, hey, if you don't want to deal with that and you're not sure you want a good performing game, maybe wait until somebody reports an update on the day one patch because it is literally a week before the game releases or a couple days by the time I make this video. So, I want to dive into a couple of key things that are interesting and that also might stir you away. So, the protagonist is mute. He doesn't really talk. And some people don't like that type of game. I think that as long as the story has a very cool setup, then you'll be fine. And it does have one is a straightforward story where you don't need to guess or do anything like a Souls like game where you're like, what is this? Doesn't make sense. Story not really coming together the best way without you hunting down lore. The game has cutscenes that are impeccable and definitely worth kind of looking into as you go. So for me personally, I have no problem with the mute protagonist, but that's something that you want to think about. He's called the Destined One, and he's not Wukong. We know that because they've already showcased and talked about that. And his storyline is very interesting compared to what has happened with Wukong, and that is as far as it goes. If you don't know the Journey to the West story, I am gonna probably make a video about the whole lore in a way because I actually loved that story. So pretty much a God of War story before God of War ever came out. So it copied that story, which is the Chinese mythology, and then they used it for God of War. So fun fact. So that's that. This is a traditional action game, okay? I'm gonna read through some of the things that the reviewers were saying and helping you hear just a sentence or two. So we have one person saying it's everything we hope for and more in a game. Another person says incredibly engaging entertainment action RPG in many ways. It said, though I mere optimizations and balance patches will meet its full ambition. And there's tons of reviews still coming in. I'm gonna go and give you guys a look at Game Vault here. It says Wukong delivers everything we hope for and more in that game. It says it sets its crown itself as one of the best of the year. without a doubt. And that's all I'm gonna read there because they have like some story stuff. But these are some of the quotes, and they're in the 85 is the current state, and that's with 70 reviews in. We still got more time to see what the numbers are gonna be. 85 to me, it's solid. I play a lot of video games, and I kind of never judge a game by the score, even though I make reviews myself. I don't recommend for you to decide if you see a score to say if it's fun or not. Fun can be a game that's, I mean, what is Mario Kart, right? Is it a perfect 10, right? It's just a cool game. It's fun. There's things like that. All right, so we're gonna get into a couple of key things to know that I've touched on before, but I feel like I can do better now. So the focus meter on the bottom right, this game surrounds, and now that I know a little better, it's all about getting that focus meter as high as possible so that you can do special attacks, and you can use all your focus meters when you build them up, or you can use one, and there's different attacks and combinations that you can do with it. But the main goal is using that. So you're going to dodge, you're going to attack, and then once you have that meter up, that'll be the main focus to continuously do damage. Okay, that's key. And then they have the immobilize. You've seen this in all the trailers where you freeze an enemy. This is going to be the first spell you unlock, and that's the number one tool to get started, to do extra damage, or to avoid attacks or anything of that nature. It's going to be key. Another big thing is the spirit skills. They're basically transformations, powerful versions of the transformations. You can level them up as well. All of these things you can level up and make a specific build and play style, which I like. Another big thing that's been confirmed is that yes, there's many bosses. I reported about 70, 80, but there's more. And they said that every single boss has its own unique move set. Right? There's a few variants, very little, but you're gonna be able to actually get the job done and lock in and have fun because the move sets are different, meaning you're gonna have a different experience. Then another big factor that I like to talk about is exploring. Okay, this isn't an open world. You're going to start off with a linear path, hallway type of gameplay, and then it'll open up to an open area. And there's bunch of explorable places to go and things to see, things to unlock. And you want to take your time and do what's right by making sure 100% because the NPCs will move on. This game is based off of chapters. If you ever played Neo, that game will have different chapters, different areas, but it's chapter by chapter. So if the NPC you don't finish the storyline, they will move on and you might miss out on that. So that's something interesting. So make sure you explore as well as finding bosses and unlocking new transformations, weapons, all this, I mean upgrades and all that in the game. It's there. Okay. Another thing you might have noticed, there's no navigations to go left, right, up, down, go to a boss, or do something specific. It lets you do whatever you want. Okay. So that's important to know because you got to explore and find your way. And I just showcased some of the PC settings. What you have to know is that the PC is running very well on many regards, but those crashes are more game based and not necessarily the biggest factor because the game looks amazing and it's running smooth to the best of its capability. And so that's what I got for you guys when it comes to the core information for the reviews. When it comes to the story, without spoiling it anything, you know, we already know that you're not Wukong. That's something that was said. You look just like him. So I'm guessing you can kind of figure out where the story is going to go and what does that mean. And your mission, just like his, possibly, is similar. And I'm curious on how and what they do with the story. What I love about this is that there's already backstory. So you're playing after the story, supposedly, from what was said. And if you're playing after, that means a lot of characters. And there's one old lady in here who her storyline is pretty deep. Her and her lover go through some really dark stuff. And it's an interesting story that has nothing to do with Journey to the West or this game, but she's in here as well. And so it's pretty awesome to have that presentation for us. So I'm excited about that. And then, of course, I will say that the bosses are just badass. And one thing I can guarantee you, if you like boss fights, you're gonna love this game. They are extremely challenging, but from every review and myself, it's not gonna be as hard as a Dark Souls game. And Dark Souls games are not always that hard. I think the reputation's a little bit extra. You know, Sekiro, I absolutely love. Elden Ring was too easy. Other games, so for me, the way the boss design is set up, it's meant to make you challenged, but it also means that you need to master their attacks and then also figure out your playstyle on how you want to beat them. And since there's a lot of build variety, I think this is where we as gamers can have fun doing things in our own way. As you can see here, calling up all of my clones is a cool way to fight. Transforming into other different things, another amazing feature. And so, depending on your playstyle and what you're feeling like being, it's key. One thing I want to stress, and this is something that's very important with this game, is that you can upgrade a specific spell and then become very specialized in that fighting style with that item, with that thing. And this is good because make a lot of variety. But you want to be careful not to waste all your resources on something you don't really use. Okay. So make sure you find something you enjoy and then go from there. That's the way I like to play is I think something's very cool, like this right here, my favorite. It's an amazing tool. All right. And you're gonna find a boss, the red ties, and then you're able to transform and then have these amazing attacks that I personally would love to make a core part of my gameplay. And I just think that it's awesome for me personally. So that might be one that I'll definitely have fun with and upgrade. And that's going to change the game for all of us. But yeah, you're looking at an 85 or so, which is perfectly fine. I do believe that the numbers are lower specifically because of the optimization on PC. And I gotta say, PC always has bad optimizations. I don't remember a year where all the games were like, oh, this has perfect optimizations. It just never happens. And it takes time sometimes after a game releases. And I'm not here to promote consoles, but one of the things that I love is like the consoles like, hey, this is what you're gonna get. It's one system. You don't have to optimize for every single variant. In PC world, you got to worry about GPU, CPU, and all of the differences. So being able to develop that isn't as easy from what we've seen. So I just don't know how I feel until the PS5 version comes out. That's the one I'm going to be streaming and playing with you guys and doing guides officially with for the most part. So you guys share your thoughts, share your comments when it comes to what you're seeing here, official gameplay. And then let me know what you want to see as far as the content that I'm making. I'm thinking of doing like how to beat a boss, but I feel like there's so many ways to beat a boss that that might not be as simple as I think. And I can't replay the bosses unless I save it or something. We have to find out how the system works. This is something I'm thinking of doing, but I do have some tips and tricks already. You can check it out popping up on your screen, as well as some gameplay, almost 2 hours worth that you can check out before the actual release, or just rewatch this one because this one has a lot of cool content. All right, love you guys. Hope you're having fun. We do have three channels right now that I've been grinding, and I'm really excited to continue to build. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.